Today we're going to talk about using the greatest common factor in the distributive property to express a sum as a product. So first let's use the distributive property. Let's review it. The distributive property says multiplying a sum by a number. Okay, so a sum is when you add two numbers together. So multiplying a sum by a number is the same as multiplying each add-in by the number and then adding the products. So multiplying the sum of 8 plus 6 times 5 is the same as doing 5 times 8 and adding it to 5 times 6. So when you're talking about the distributive property, use the word distribute to help you. You're distributing the multiplication to each of the add-ins. So 8 times 6 plus 7 is the same as 8 times 6 plus 8 times 7. 4 times 2 plus 5, we're going to distribute the multiplication to each of the add-ins, is the same as doing 4 times 2 and adding that to 4 times 5. Okay, so the problems on your homework tonight say use the greatest common factor in the distributive property to express the sum as a product. Okay, so there's 3 steps we're going to do this. Step number 1 is find the greatest common factor. So we need to find the greatest common factor of 72 and 96. We could list all the factors and then find the greatest one they have in common. That's a lot of work for big numbers like this, so we're going to use a factor tree. Okay, that was easy. So here we have our factor tree for 72, our factor tree for 96, and I've listed the prime factorization. And always remember to check that by multiplying the numbers. 72 is equal to 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24, times 3 is 72. Down here we have the prime factorization for 96. You want to find the ones they have in common. They both have a 2, they both have another 2, they both have another 2, okay, they both have a 3. So the common factors, the prime factors they have in common are a 2, another 2, another 2, and a 3. So if you multiply these numbers together, you'll get the greatest common factor. Excuse me, yes, the greatest common factor of 92, 72, and 96. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24. So the greatest common factor of 72 and 96 is 24. So that's step 1. Okay, step 2, we're going to write each of our original numbers. Okay, and here's our original numbers, 72 and 96. We're going to write each of our original numbers as the product of the greatest common factor and another factor. Okay, so the product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So our greatest common factor is 24. I know that 24 times 3 is 72. So I'm writing my original number as the product of the greatest common factor and another factor. Okay, greatest common factor is 24. 24 times 4 is 96. So now I'm done with step 2. Now I want to use the distributive property to express the sum as a product. And right here I have all my information that I need. Okay, so 72 plus 96 is equal to 24, which was the greatest common factor, times 3 plus 4. Okay, because that's the same as doing 24 times 3 plus 24 times 4. So let's just check the math to make sure. 96 plus 72, 168. Over here, 3 plus 4 is 7. 24 times 7 is 168. Okay, let's quickly look at another example. Okay, so again, I'm going to use the greatest common factor in the distributive property to express the sum as a product. Okay, in this one, I've got 20 and 25. These are small numbers, so I'm going to quickly list their factors to find the greatest common factor. I know I've got 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. So I've got the factors of 20, the factors of 25 are 1 times 25 and 5 times 5. Okay, so the greatest common factor of 20 and 25 is 5. So step 1, I found the GCF is 5. Step 2, write each of your original numbers. Okay, here they are, as the product of the greatest common factor and another factor. Product's the answer to a multiplication problem. GCF is 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 5 is 25. So now I'm going to put this all together. Step 3, the distributive property, and I'm going to express the sum as a product. Sum is the answer to an addition problem. And now I'm going to express that as a product. And here's my product. I'm going to take the GCF, which is 5, and I'm going to multiply that times 4 plus 5. Okay, again, it's always a good idea to check your math. Make sure these are actually equal. 25 plus 20 is 45. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, so when you want to use the GCF and the distributive property to express the sum as a product, it sounds like a lot of work, but you got to use the words to help you. Step 1, find the greatest common factor. Step 2, write each of your original numbers as a multiplication problem, okay, using the GCF. And then you're going to use the distributive property to express the sum as a product. Good luck.